Hey guys, Cameron here with Emerson Property Management. Every week I bring you tools, tactics, strategies, lessons I've learned, things that helped me build up a solid home portfolio in about 2 years and now manage that portfolio. Today, guys, I want to talk about property marketing. So if you're an owner who is looking for property management and you want to know how at least we market your property, you'll want to watch this video. I'll talk about all the highlights or things that if you are personally marketing your property that you'll want to do. Some of this stuff is expensive, some of it's cheap. And just easy. So this is how we would market your property and how I believe, most, if not all property management companies should, and how you should as well. So before we get into that, if you guys enjoy this, please like, subscribe, share with somebody if you find it valuable. If not, don't. Tell me, give me some feedback, shoot me a comment below. Okay, let's get into this. So how are we going to market your property? So my handy dandy fancy schmancy whiteboard here, property marketing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pre-market the property. And what does that mean? Well, about a week or 2 weeks before the tenant vacates, we're going to start listing your property as active. We're not going to show the property, but at least we will allow people to see that it's on the radar. And there's many reasons for that. One of the main reasons is tenant availability. So if the tenant is not home, they don't want people walking through their stuff, they'll become combative and it could become destructive when they move out. That's one. And it's also super hard to show. Number two, so like if somebody wants to go see it, the tenant's like, oh no, I eat dinner at 5 o'clock. I'm declining that showing. So it's really problematic. And then they're grumpy and they tell the owner or the applicant that the owner doesn't do anything or yada, yada, yada. So that's one. The second piece is the applicant cannot really see what the property looks like or is going to look like when they move in. So the tenant's got stuff all over the place. They're probably in the process of moving out. So, I know when I'm moving out, stuff's coming off the wall, all sorts of stuff looks chaotic. It looks unkept. So they are not going to know, the applicant is not going to know exactly what we're going to do. And we really don't know exactly what we're going to do until that tenant moves out and we've done our full move out report and documented everything. So we have a documentation before the tenant moves in, and then a documentation, a couple hundred pictures and videos and whatnot when the tenant moves out so we can accurately charge against their security deposit. But once we have that move out, that's when we create the scope of work. And then we say, okay, well, this bit, here's this, and this that we're going to do in this property. This piece needs to be charged back to the tenant. This piece needs to be charged back to the tenant. But this, and this are going to be done because it's normal wear and tear and we need to get the property up to snuff. So that's why the tenant's not going to know that full list. And then there's always a miscommunication. Oh yeah, we said we were going to put in LVP flooring. Well, you didn't put it in the bedrooms or in that back den. Well, we put it in 90% of the house, or, you said you were going to paint it, a nice gray color. Well, it's an off-white or a light gray or whatever. So it's better for a tenant to see the property in the condition it's going to be when they move in. Or as close to it. And I can tell you that is come up time and time again, frustration and miscommunication. And it's not anybody's fault. It's just when they ask, they're thinking one thing as an applicant, like, are you going to paint this wall? And we're thinking, another certain thing. Or the agent showing them is thinking, they're going to paint that. Well, they don't tell us, and then we don't have that communication. So that's number two. But pre-marketing it, letting folks know that it's going to be available, and then that drums up some interest. So the second thing, and this goes into when we pre-market, we're going to do a video tour with a floor plan. So we walk through the property, everything, so somebody can watch a YouTube video 24/7 and check out and see exactly what your property looks like. And then sometimes you go through the pictures, you go through your video tour, and you're like, I really don't understand the layout, or I'm a little confused. So we do layouts as well. So you get a picture of a layout so you can see that clear as day. I'm a very visual person. So, being able to see that is super helpful, and it helps prospects understand, okay, I've got all these pictures together of room 1, 2, 3, and now I see my layout and I've got my video tour. It makes things super clear, especially a lot of residents now that are moving from all over the country. And we've gotten a lot of transplants to Texas from the great economy, the tax-free state, yada, yada, yada. But that kind of ties in. I didn't really mention it on here, but it does bear repeating. We take professional pictures. I have seen, we've gotten owners from other management companies who take literally iPhone pictures or maybe 1 or 2 pictures, whatever is required. They take iPhone pictures and they list it for lease. And then that's it. They're done. It's over. We do all professional pictures on every single property, regardless of the price point. We do the video tour and the floor plans. So that helps market the property. Again, when we pre-market it, it drums up interest. If we don't have this available, once the tenant moves out and we get the property turned and up to snuff, we'll do this to make sure we have accurate pictures and whatnot. The third piece of this is syndicate. God, that's a big word, isn't it? And what does that mean? Because I didn't know until I looked at it about 5 minutes ago. Syndicate or syndication means to go across all the different platforms. So when we post something, we're members of HAR, the Houston Association of Realtors, and it will syndicate to all these other platforms. Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com, just on and on and on and on and on. All these other platforms, Redfin, and I mean, I can just go on and on the names of them, but we syndicate across that. I never thought I would have to mention this, but I think I have another video up here regarding how some property management companies do not market your property on the MLS. That was a news flash to me. Trying to save commissions. If you ever see agents or property management companies are like, hey, we'll cut you a deal on the lease fee, that's probably because they're not listing your property on the MLS. So they don't want to pay the tenant's agent. So they just don't offer it. So as an owner, you're not getting that broad-based exposure across the entire litany of online sites. So you're not getting it on HAR, you might not be getting it on some of those other websites. So we post on the MLS to make sure it syndicates across literally everywhere on the interwebs, as they say. So that's something you want to make sure you're going to get it syndicated across all the platforms to make sure that you're getting the maximum exposure as an owner. We also, and I was against this, but we also allow self-showing capability. Now, as an owner, one of Emerson's owners, I was apprehensive to this. It kind of made me a little nervous, but statistically, your property will rent faster. There's verification process that goes into it with IDs and deposits and credit cards and stuff. And to date, we have never had a squatter in the property, thank gosh. But yeah, these self-showings, it's so easy. A tenant might be looking at a property and then, just click a few buttons, do some verification, and then they can go in and see it. There's no, that ability for somebody to go in that quickly without having to get their agent involved. And again, I should mention, this is only on vacant properties. We're not going to be doing this in an occupied. I already mentioned that before. We're not going to show it occupied. We're not going to disturb the tenant. We're not going to create confusion around what the condition of the property is, yada, yada, yada. But that self-showings, it allows tenants to go super fast, super quickly, and on their time and schedule. They don't have to coordinate with an agent. They don't have to coordinate with us. They do everything online through the app, and it allows them, and we have security measures and a verification process in that to make sure who goes in is who they say they are and whatnot. So self-showings has been a big game changer and allowed your property to rent much more quickly. The last one, online application. So I think this one is super important as well. Sometimes we lose out on clients to mom and pops. I was a mom and pop. We were a mom and pop at one time. I think small business is a backbone of this country. But the one thing we didn't have when we were small and had like less than 50 doors is we didn't have some of the technology. So if you are one of those owners who has a paper application, or you personally have maybe 3, 4, or 5 rentals you're managing yourself, get an online app so that when the tenant sees this and they walk through it, they can then literally fill out the application in the evening or at night before they're going to bed. And when you come into the office the next morning, or turn on your computer or whatever you want to say, you have their application and it's done. You don't have to mail one in, scan it, sign it. It's a pain in the rear end to sign and scan, and it creates more. It's just a longer delay. It's another thing to delay somebody getting into your property. And you don't want somebody to delay filling out an app, run their credit and background. You want to get that done as quickly as possible and find out if this person is qualified. So those are the main things, y'all. It's not complicated. It's simple, but not easy, as they say. Pre-market the property, but we don't show, pre-market it, try to create some flair and whatnot, but the condition, tenant relations there, you got to be careful. Make sure you have a great professional pictures, video tour, with a floor plan. It's perfect. It lets the tenants from all over the country or world be able to really visualize that property and not waste your time if they're not even interested. We syndicate across multiple platforms to get the owner the maximum exposure. Self-showings, again, so that a tenant can immediately get into that property and see it as quickly as they can without having to schedule with you or their agent. And then online application. Let that tenant, when they're ready, fill out the application line and get that application into you and get that screening process started. One other piece before I close. We had somebody ask, can I see some examples of your listings? If you ever want to see an example of an Emerson listing, if you're interested in using our services or you want to see, hey, let's see how Cameron does it so we can do it. I've given you a lot, but you can go to just emersonpropertymanagement.com or Emerson Property Management and just type in HAR, H-A-R, Houston Association of Realtors. And if you go into HAR or Emerson, you'll see all of our listings on there and you can look through every one. We don't have one that we keep up there to show you guys. These are actual owner listings that we've done. So you'll see our service and how we market properties right there. Proof will be in the pudding. So I hope that was helpful. I appreciate y'all and I'll see y'all next week.